I'm done.
No, it's how it's broke out.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go by our allotted amount, like,
Mhm.
you know.
It's over
you got
time.
Whatever sewer, whatever water, and then roads.
Mhm.
So does, Nathan, because he has a TDL. Everybody else is 50/50 water sewer.
Mhm.
You're 60/40 water sewer, but
Yeah.
this is a totally different.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I am running. Open the study session for board director, all district, January 28th at 6 P.M.
Okay, first we have resolution 3-2025 election for 2025 DEO. I did get a hold of Butler County. They are going to hold it. They are not going to have a polling place down there. They will have their drop-off box like normal. If anybody doesn't get a ballot, they can call them and they'll send them another ballot or whatever at that point, because talk to them and they do have to have, or do have to send every property owner a ballot. So I'll probably need your help with Neil to go through the list.
Can we get that list from what we gave them?
Yeah, but there's a lot of names have changed. The property.
Sure, it might be, I don't know if it'll help or not. Do we still have that one?
I still have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was some of the changes. That's why nothing really changed here. That they will have it. I did put their address because once it goes into that election after I turn in the designation or the self-nomination, the DEO will go to them, which will be I lost the name of it.
Okay, so Jim, go ahead, let's relieve you of some of the issues tonight. You're just not feeling well.
Yeah.
Understood. So, Ray, you brought up the change you prefer.
Right, I noticed in the resolution that we still had that 7 AM to 7 PM idea listed in the resolution, which is, as Jim pointed out, this is just a drop box. So I propose that we edit that out a little bit, and for number 1, I would prefer, or we would hope we would consider changing the wording to the regular election shall be conducted as a mail ballot election in accordance with all relevant provisions of the code, concluding May 6, 2025 at 7 PM. 2 directors will be served. I just basically moved that wording from number 2 to number 1, and then I struck out the 7 AM to 7 PM. And that's all I did. It just, that's the wording. And then that's it. That looks good.
So the sheet that you gave us, we could just change it to that.
I would like to change it, yeah.
Then I noticed that self-nomination except number 4, self-nomination accepted from the available after designation, designated election official office located at the above address. What we should say is that instead of at the above address, we should say at our address here.
Correct.
That's a CCMD address. And I think that's all.
And then add the address there.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything? Okay, go ahead, Jim. Next one is,
Water sewer connection agreement.
I think we need to,
I noticed Neil brought up a couple of things too. I did double on 8 and 7, which I need to take 8 out of there. The other thing is Neil, since we have water for the connection there, why don't we put in the sewer for a description in there as the sewer,
there's some editing issues here. So we have under, number 2, we have construction services, and then we have water, but we don't have a paragraph for water. We don't have a paragraph for sewer. For the same kind of issues for sewer, need to be maintained, as if there are, as waters, the contractor needs to, leave the, expose the existing line and leave the pit open until it's inspected, so it's pretty the same thing for sewer as it is for water. And then on sewer, we need to state that, that the contractor or owner will provide a backflow preventer at their expense.
All right, we're laughing about it.
On water and sewer connection agreement, number,
Yeah,
under number two,
Here's he brought it up, and
under number two,
I don't understand why
water,
he did that.
you don't have it, you have it. Have you mentioned it, please?
I don't think so.
Come back to it.
Oh, there, yeah, underwater there, the front left, under that water paragraph,
Uh-huh.
we need to have a sewer paragraph, it says the same thing, other than just pertaining to sewers.
Okay,
And it will state that,
Pretty much the same as what water states, but
other than the sewer.
that's
so keep directing me to do that?
It'll probably be easier for me to do it.
Okay,
Cause I have to take, we got a Google and bring it into Word.
okay.
That way we have it on our programmer.
Then on number 5, between the road cuts, the last sentence, the last part of that sentence should say which separate permission is required of CCMD or another government entity. CCMD should be included in there.
Right on.
I proposed that. And on the last page, posting budget district staff is duplicated.
Right,
Yeah.
number 7 and 8.
Do you think we should have the line that says, like, date paid, because we're putting a restriction on how long? On this form?
Is there a payment attached to this?
I thought we were having a sign it at the time the payment was being submitted, so that this coincides with, it's good for 6 months or
You want to have
a year or whatever it was determined by the board.
Got a
deadline next
to that, one signature.
Date and amount paid.
Or
Yes, it does say, well, that's imposition, connection fees, and other applicable fees have been paid. Customer shall be responsible. So what you're proposing is to have a line that actually records what date that was paid.
Yeah, it was paid, isn't there, I haven't read the whole thing, that, isn't there a date of 6 months or a year
A year.
of that? That's the only, as long as they could get a refund or they didn't start building or whatever, that we actually have it there when it was paid, so we can go back.
So on the last page, we can have a signature, got the applicant's signature, date of signature, and then date of payment.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
And amount, I put the amount on it too.
No,
Yeah,
Not the date.
that's a good point. Thanks, Sandy.
I think that we were saying that they would get a refund.
no,
Here,
that I didn't.
that the board would consider it.
No, we aren't.
We just, so we're all looking forward to
Yeah.
this big project, we're gonna get the money.
Yeah.
That's the good
I just
reason.
want to make sure come. So she said it, she said they can get a refund at the end of the day.
We don't want to, we wait for that.
No. That's just,
This way they sign it.
So, do we want to consider this tonight or? should we-
No,
No, we'll work on it one more time. Okay, I'll bring it back.
Okay,
Keep trying.
Yeah. Sounds good.
anything else on that?
Not so far.
All right, let's move to the,
Okay,
project estimate for remaining meters.
yeah,
Is that an 80 thing?
yes, it is.
Let me come up front.
Okay. So we found 2 companies so far that are confident with this scope of work. I got DB Construction Group. They're out of Springs, I believe. It's Kyle Schutz. I don't have an estimate from him yet. He's scheduled to come down on the 3rd of February to meet with me to do a site survey.
What was the name again?
DB Construction Group.
DB?
And then, the other company is Will Diggers Construction. I was speaking with Matt. He was able to give me a high cost estimate so far. We're looking at a range of between 2,500 and 3,500 per meter for them to come in and do excavation and also installing meter pits as well as all the parts involved. That comes out to around 292,000 to 400,000, and that is for 117 meters that we have left to replace. Majority of that cost is going to be due to county permitting, and road closures and that sort of thing. That comes out to around $1,500 per meter. That price can fluctuate depending on, Matt said he's going to work with county and see if they can do, kind of a cost overlay for permitting. That way it's not a permit per, bid site. If you can come up with something a little bit cheaper than that, but even at the low end, we're still looking at around 175,000.
And you, so DB, we're still kind of waiting on.
Yeah, I'll meet with him on.
So we're still gonna be okay as far as what we were looking for. We wanted the quote by March, I think, and we're looking real good. What could you do it for? What could the city do it for?
Pennies on the dollar. It just takes a little time, as you all know.
One of the things that we discussed is renting mini-X. That way he can get in and out and where he needs. So we have, with the backhoe, it's great when we have a big job and nothing and stuff, but when you're dealing in a small area with the meter pits, I think a mini-X to rent it out for, say, a month or something, that would be our major cost. Which we wouldn't have to have all the permitting and stuff with it coming, since it is our water.
Well, could you give us a, could you give us a rough estimate of what it would cost for you to do it?
I can put something together.
Would you do that?
It wouldn't be anything near, what it's gonna cost to have a private contractor come in and do it. The majority of the cost is already paid for. We have a lot of parts in stock, which I would furnish to another company if they were gonna come in and do this for us. But a lot of that cost, it's already,
Yeah, it's a pretty rough estimate. But
yeah.
also, I would think, I'd like to see that we'd have some kind of idea of what we could do it time-wise and what it would cost us. So how many hours it would take your crew to do it, as well as how much it cost involved. Give us a cost of what cost.
What's the possibility of hiring 6 months seasonal labor to do the labor aspect of it as opposed to?
Come up with a.
I don't know if that would do us a whole lot of good at this point. We're kind of getting into the weeds where we need guys that actually kind of know what they're doing, working around this stuff.
We still have somebody running everybody with their
Right.
parts. So we're not stretched thin on everything else.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Hayden, what do you think the possibility is of our being able to handle this in, let's say, over a 3-year time frame?
I don't think it would take that long.
Really?
I know it's been pretty slow going. Last year was pretty rough. We were skeleton crew, and we were still chipping away at it as best we could, but we had a lot of emergencies going on last year. I don't think it would take that long.
You'd feel good about taking it on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I think it's well within our scope of work.
I don't.
Could you give us a proposal?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
That's me.
One more thing is, we got the last vendor bid in. Yep, functional, so everybody has grinders on North Park. We haven't had an issue since we changed those grinders out. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Those will be coming in daily.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, you bet.
All right, we have a change order for, Valley First.
Yes. What this is change order is, when we proposed this to DOA for the $1 million, the bathrooms were not part of the scope of work. But with Trumbull County coming in and requiring us to have bathrooms put in, that increased this. We got the money, it's just that they needed a letter and approved by the board that yes, this is why, the scope of work was changed.
So when you say we have the money, do you mean ballot first?
Yeah. Well, it comes to us. So,
Yeah, but I
We
mean,
pay it, we get it back.
yeah,
Am I running here?
no, it looks like it's went dead.
Dead, I think. Oh, you know,
Yeah,
Battery,
and see what happens, it comes on when it fades out.
got the. Exactly. So that's all that is that Missy wanted us to have the board review it, that, it was due to Trumbull County requiring us to have bathrooms for the field since bathrooms are on there. They wanted to check next to this side too. For the field.
I don't think we have much choice here, of course.
No.
But it would be nice to have a number. I see no number.
Well, it's part of that, you guys approved the 1.8 over the 8.
That included the change order?
That includes that. That was all included in it. But when we went for the grant, we didn't have that as part of the proposal. This was stuff that we found out later on, as we started getting, as Agentio started engineering it and, dealing with Trumbull County.
So approving the revised budget. We already saw the revised budget.
Mm-hmm. Cause it was already in there. When we had that special meeting to, okay, the Valley Push project.
All right, board, any questions? All right. DC, Public Health Committee, reviews, I don't know that we do have a review.
For a house, but Bob had some stuff that he wanted to address.
Yeah.
And it's in your packet.
Good evening, board. And just around what have been, this will end up over in Sandy's effect in her hands for a file. It's just a rundown. We're trying to move the HB 241267 and covenant process forward. And I've got a new background. An example, the first one was sent out. It has to do, this is a complaint that goes back to 2022, and then he hasn't done anything with it or whatever. He wanted to fix it, then it cut back and complaint number 210 again. But the pictures you can see that's of it, and it's one of the many that are being ignored. The letter you have in there is an example of the first letter to him, based on the HB 1267 guidelines. They're very specific to what we have to tell people and provide them as far as what information. And if you had that there. And then you know the act, you've seen the act. That'll go to Sandy. And, but anyway, that first one, the resolution that was in there, I think the number on the top was wrong. That should probably be 4 now. But I sat down with Neil and he brought up some changes that were definitely needed in it, as well as the complaint enforcement policy that you have there. And the complaint enforcement policy is the guide that you have to send out to that individual or individuals. And it has everything on it that HB 1267 says you have to have in there. And then Neil, he also went over that with me, and we made some changes to that. Then we get onto the chicken issue, which is not going to go away until we do something about it. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but there's some guidance in there on where we are now after the recent uniform code that county brought into effect. We are listed, most of our residential sections, and that's what we're called now, SR2, LR, and HR, under urban agriculture out here. And so, yes, according to the county, they can have chickens. But, and it's got a definition of urban agriculture there. Now down there's also a list of the units who prohibit chickens. There's units that don't say, and there's units that have limited areas within the units. And then of course there's some east of highway, which are relevant right now. Then units 36, 40, 42, 43, and 44 are not identified. Anyway, those are the units, majority of them say no poultry. Personally, even though I would like to raise chickens, personally, it would be easier if we banned chickens. If we don't, because we cannot say people can have chickens, but yet do we allow them? And that's a sticky slope there, because the person next door says, well, covenants say you can have chickens, so it's going to be up to them to do something. But as he says, you know, the price of eggs, it makes sense underneath the business judgment rule to make some changes. And then this explains and tells about the business judgment rule that you will fall under. You're going to be basically liable for, or this is going to tell you or keeps you from being liable. But there's an explanation of the business judgment rule that we will ignore the covenant involving chickens if you so to decide. And really, we can't say we're going to. And then, but what we have to do, we have to be careful to protect the people who live besides these people with chickens. And what I suggest if we do, right here is the rules coming out of the new Uniform Development Code down here at the bottom of the county guidance, accordance with 170430. We've got to have guidance for these people if we are going to ignore them having chickens. We're not allowing them, as I understand. But if we ignore them having chickens, we still have to have something in there so they don't harm their neighbors. You know, we've got one that when I was up there, they were harming the neighbor. So we've got to have something, and I say we've got to, in the minimum, follow the county rules. And they're pretty right on, and they're not that restrictive except for roosters. So it's going to be a decision we're going to have to make, where you're going to have to start sending people letters that they can have chickens, or we're going to have to, I'll go out personally and talk to each one of them and say, we're not going to say you can't have chickens. We're not going to say you will have chickens, but if you do, we're going to expect that you follow these guidelines with the neighbors, or we will, and then go underneath the covenants under noxious, etc., and we will take care of them through House Bill 1297. So, but we do have to, everybody wants chickens, or a lot of people do, we still have to pick people that are beside them. And so anyway, I kind of wrote everything down there so you but we need to move forward, as I understand. I guess we have to vote for a resolution before we get this thing going. Is that true? Okay.
Sir, I'd like to apologize. All this stuff you're talking about, I have not had a chance to see.
Okay.
We got the,
We gotta wait.
this came out, it's all new.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, again, by next meeting, we've done this now for 6 months. The next meeting that we are. Can we, and I've written down here pretty much everything, kind of a guide about it. You've got a copy of the policy that includes everything that HB 1267 has in it. And I guess between now and next week, could you look at that and come up with a decision?
I know one of the things that the board, when we did approve the resolution, that they were looking at the funds not being as much and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. That's where I think it needs to be a combined meeting between CCAC and the board, with a couple board members to work on that resolution to fine tune it.
Well, we need to get to doing it then. I can come in. You know, we can have a meeting. We're here 4 times a month. And you can come in at that time, or I'll come in if you guys want to get together and we sit down and look at it. I caution you though, if you're going to come in and say, we're going to find you $12, you know, where we start. So look at the fines there. And the point is not to collect money from somebody, it's to wake them up and say if they don't get it cleaned up, they get fined. Well, if they don't get it cleaned up, they deserve a fine. And, so that's where I come from on that. So please look at that. And then Karen, by next week, we get to moving on this. The first one will be the example that I've gotten right there. The letter I did is all there too. And take it, and if there's, corrections that you might want to make, we'll scribble on everything, and we need to sit down before our next meeting. And put this together, instead of putting it off, and putting it off, and putting it off.
This is still complaint phase, anyway, right?
Yes,
It's out there for the fact that you're kind of gonna do some preemptive stuff.
well, no, the 3 chicken deals are complaints. And I haven't done any preemptive thing. What I've done is I've gone back through some of the complaints that we've had for covenants as well as county complaints. And those basically would be the ones that we work on, that the ones that aren't being taken care of. I did talk to county today, and I think they had a problem like we have or whatever. I had a number of questions, and they're supposed to get back to me on complaints. But they weren't very forthcoming today. But, the person who knows is supposed to get in touch with them. But will that work then? Give me 2 weeks or a week here to look at it, and then we get together. Everybody get together.
How can we, without having a meeting, or do we need to have a meeting? It's not a meeting. But how can we work through this? I need some input from the board.
We set up a meeting with you. So meet with, since that way we won't have one.
That's fine with me. Just be sure everybody has their input for those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that way, get you a start, and then we can send it out to the rest of them and say, okay, by the next meeting, this is what the committee came up with the 2 board members.
And we can vote on it, and I can send the letter the next day.
And is this really agreeable?
You're having a meeting next Thursday, right?
This Thursday.
This Thursday.
But not this Thursday, but the next Thursday, you will have one as well.
We have, yeah.
Go ahead.
Just a point, I remember when we passed the resolution, no fines. Remember?
No, I don't remember that.
Don't you remember it, Clint?
Until there was distribution of what covenants in a hierarchy of priority, right? What we were gonna start and enforce, what was low priority, what was high priority. Until that time, there wasn't fine.
Yeah, we passed an amended resolution that did not include fines until we had done some structure to the fines.
Well, have you done any structure to the
No,
fines?
that's why I'm bringing it up. It's like,
That's what I'm saying is it needs to have the committee from the board and the parent committee to come up with what would structure as to, and what do you consider as priorities in that?
I think we also talked about wanting to have a full board here. Because we all have to- No.
So I agree. I think I see some problems. The no fines issue, the priority legally, the priority on the no fines issue is, I'm afraid, that selective enforcement. I think we need to,
The business rules, selective enforcement. Business decision, selective enforcement. We're going back into the weeds on this covenant real quick here. I can see that. I think the architectural committee needs to come prioritize what covenants they feel they need to make high priority. Basically, to me, that would be the covenants that affect other people's property tax. We still need to give people a heads up so they can get ahead of this and clean up their act before we start sending out letters and everything else. My idea of this The reason I voted for this, I didn't want to, is because I think we're required to. I haven't heard anything to the contrary from legal, but we gotta send out notice to people what's high priority. And people are, I've heard from people that are scared to death, we're gonna come out and take their chickens from them.
Well, we could.
And that's why they're scared to death.
Yeah. Yeah, so what did that's what I thought, that would be the easiest
So
thing to do.
we're not gonna be taking anybody's chickens.
Well, see, that's your decision, it's not mine.
No, what happened to fines? You're not gonna go out there and grab that chicken.
You,
You just said you would. Oh. You said we could.
Yeah, we can have them.
we could, if we could, but then we pretty much generally have decided chickens is off the table. There's three, and I told you I was gonna go out and visit with all three of them and let them know we've decided not to enforce the covenants on chickens based on the business rule, judgment rule. And then leave it at that, but they still have to be subject to a decent, no hazardous, noxious place. But so the chickens is separate from HB 1267 as far as I'm concerned. We've got a lot of other issues out there that we need to take care of.
What issues are those?
Like
We have a definitive
green
list.
metal container with all the trash on both sides,
So why don't-
it's building up.
Why don't we have a definitive list of what's high priority? What's high priority? What are we gonna enforce? What are we really going to want to take care of in this valley? We can't enforce everything.
You give me a list, what do you think first, and I'll give you a list, okay? As we kick this thing down again, you give me a list.
My list would
You
be
guys
one
do something.
thing, be anything that would adversely affect somebody else.
That one you'd have an example in your book.
And that is a perfect example of one I would enforce.
That's the first one I got up. That's the
There's
first
a
one.
lot of other covenants that's why we need a list. So that we
Now, do
can,
you want a list of each
and they can be categorized,
complaint
it's just,
or each, or like, camp RVs? That'll be one of them.
right,
Noxious, home
Right.
places or whatever.
I mean, fence height, where's that fall in the list? Somebody's had a fence, 6-foot fence for 20 years. If somebody starts complaining about it, we're gonna start tearing it down.
That's up to you guys. I haven't written up a fence yet. Are you looking at one?
No,
Okay,
care less about somebody's fence height.
well, the neighbor may not feel the same way, but I haven't right now gotten that I can remember. There may be some, we've got, wow, this would be a place, and many of them are open. There may be somebody that's worried about that, so I can't say it's a non-issue. Nobody around my house has a big fence that I worry about either, but somebody may have,
There's
so,
been complaints on fence height.
okay.
There have been.
I'd have to look, it's been a long time.
The only fence thing I know was just neighbors fighting with each other, so they were picking. That was on the way. That was just more, the neighbors didn't like each other, so they were fighting anything. That's all I know.
So, but we can put fences down there. You do something. You look at your governance and you tell me what you want, because I come up here and tell you, give you my recommendations, and then you throw them for.
I can tell you
So
what,
you do something.
here's what I'm gonna do. If I can find out that this is not a legal obligation for this district, I will propose an amendment or an agenda item to do away with this.
Okay, you do.
If
make
it can
sure
be,
stuff-
if it can be proven to be, this is not a requirement,
Okay,
because the way I read it, it is.
okay, I agree with you. I'm right up for it.
And if I can get a definitive answer from legal that it is, then until I hear that, I guess we'll proceed with it.
Well, please do. Please look that up. I understand
I've looked
it
it
is,
up.
but look it up. I understand that's important.
Have a couple of us tend to their Thursday meeting and then get together somehow to Work through this.
Well, we keep working through this item, then we come back, and then we go work through something else. And how many years is this gonna take? And then we still have people out there that are ignoring covenants that affect our property values.
Well, man, one of the things that we did when we, passed this covenant enforcement was, as Mr. Grove, points out, is we said we were gonna notify the community of the fact that we did it and do I wouldn't call it a public relations blast, but what we did at that meeting, I don't think is generally accepted information or has been accepted information in the area. We haven't done jack in terms of notifying people that we are going to be looking at this. We haven't.
There was an article in the paper.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Terry put an article in the paper about it. And it seems to me like one of the letters you sent out had it in there also. You mentioned it in one of your letters.
Yeah, and I understand that, but being in previously in the field of communication, that ain't, I'm just saying, you know, that's,
Well, I agree. It's just like I would like to send out people, you know, what's the process for getting permits? Because how many storage sheds that people bring in, they don't stop down here, they don't stop in the county, they just deliver a storage shed. So now I can walk around and find them all over town, too close to the fence. They didn't ever pay their $40 for down here or the counties. And I wanted to put that in favor. Given this is guidance. If you don't tell people what they need to do up front, you're going to have a fighting battle the whole time. So I agree. That's a great thing to do. But are we going to do that now or are we going to do it in June?
well, we could do it now. I mean, we could put it on the district website if we had if the chairman would put together a cohesive message to people to put on the website, then we could put it on the website as another place. Then we could put it on Facebook, which we haven't done.
Would that be something that's put out in the
Yeah.
Yeah,
newsletter in the bill?
yeah. And we've done that too, but see, I don't know if you guys recall the meeting where, one of the people that was speaking to us from the audience said, well, I don't read the letter because I have an auto pay. She said, I just throw the letter in the trash.
Well, I think put it everybody's hand.
Yeah, and I think it was in the last letter, wasn't it, Mr. Chairman?
I did.
No.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I don't believe it was.
But it could go with the letter.
And I have the next letter, I guarantee you, you know.
But that's kind of your responsibility, though.
Yeah, it is. I
It's
agree,
just-
but
I mean, you can choose not to read it. That's your choice.
Um,
If you're not aware.
Like they say, you can read the next one.
sure, I get that, but that's how communication is.
And
Oh,
then
especially when people don't want to hear what you have to say. You
Well,
know, so you gotta hit them from shotgun approach, like 5 or 6, 7 different ones.
we've got to get this.
let's move along, Mr. Chairman. And then before next week, we're going to have a meeting with 2 people.
Yeah, let's,
No. No.
No.
Pick
Ray,
Ray.
they want it all together.
Ray.
so
You know,
they don't
Ray-
want it.
Ray-
I volunteer Ray.
Ray would love to do it, but guess
No,
what?
I know. I think that.
I'll talk to you later about why Ray's not going to be here
You guys all voted for it.
for a while.
I need some help. I'll be at the next meeting, not the one this Thursday, but the following.
And then, Mr. Gross, you want a list before the next meeting so you can review it.
Yeah, that would be great.
And as I understand, the priority of the type of covenant violations. What's the list of the covenant that we're going to go after?
Right.
Okay. I'll look through the complaints and see which ones.
Because right now, everybody feels like everything's gonna be hammered on. That's not the case.
Well, that's never was my case. I've got a lot of complaints in there. I'm not looking for any more.
Gosh, that's the problem.
Mr. Chairman, one more thing.
That one, so long.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the chicken thing, I kind of, as I understand, the board's going to kind of ignore that using the business judges rule. but I still have 3 complaints. I have to go, unless you want to go visit with these people.
I don't want to enforce anything, so that would probably be.
Okay, well, the neighbor who has to smell it, you want to talk to her?
Sure.
Can I just say one thing, Mr. Chairman, and that is, one of the, I'm gonna make this point for, Greg, because Greg's not here. Greg would say, people do not have to rely on us to do this. People can take care of this themselves in a claims situation in court, or they can press an action. It doesn't necessarily, the covenants are the covenants, and the covenants exist without, if there was no Metro Board or no architectural committee, the covenants would still exist and they would still be enforceable. So if it's really bothering somebody to the extent that they feel like they want to actually put some skin in the game, then they can solve it. I've done it with covenants, but it requires effort. You may have to round up a neighbor or two to chip in, but it's doable.
That ought to be, advertised.
Sure,
People know.
sure.
Okay, and then the last thing is just, you've got a copy of my mileage for last week.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
It's got, we have also one new build. It's, 5,003 after money. It was okay. You rarely can get 6. You don't want to get it back to, if you need to see the whole file, I have 30 files and everything here.
I think I saw enough of the packet.
Any questions on 5,003, Antoinette? Okay, let's do that. What else do we have? We have,
That's it. Just saying it, Chairman.
in order for this to be conducted, the most effective and expeditious manner and necessary that all persons present in the unit's building or the boards, staff, and each other. Conduct that appears threatening or aggressive will not be tolerated. Shouting, speaking out of order, or use of physical gestures similar are not acceptable. Such behavior shall constitute the forfeiture of the right to remain in attendance and may, point of order brought to the board attention by council or any board member, including chairperson, results in their being asked to leave the meeting by the chairperson or upon refusal. We have to that's the authority.
And is there anybody saying that's effective?
No.
No. Good.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
Almost the study session open, there is a meeting. Council Metropolitan did it on, what is it, January 28th at 6:35. Keep going the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joy and no silent pledging, please.
Thank you.
Let the minutes show that we have a quorum, 4 board members present in person, and 1 board member in excused absence. And I get an approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda for approval. I would like to bring back the water and sewer connection agreement. Did we not decide we were going to bring that one back because of all the changes? Was that the voter?
We're gonna do is bring it back to the next meeting after all the changes are made.
It's not on the.
We don't have it under the agenda items.
Oh, okay, my bad. Otherwise, yes, make a motion to approve the agenda.
Moved and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? And you approve the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for study session January 14th, 2024, special meetings January 14th, 2024, and CCACC minutes January 14th, 2024.
Second.
Move in second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Bill Smith. I will make a motion to approve bills.
Second.
Move in second, discussion. Nobody have any questions? I have a couple of questions, I think that, what I will do is, and that's just, I guess that explanation probably I'll talk with Christie about. One of them is, but off the top here, the very first one, A1 LLC, who's A1 LLC?
That is,
Heidi Farnby.
that's our electrician.
He's our electrician. Okay.
He's been doing a lot of our work instead of them. He charges about half the price of what main electric would charge us.
He shows up.
Doesn't blow stuff up. He's very knowledgeable with our plants and stuff.
We have, item number 38438. Oh, natural gas. We have wastewater treatment plant in there 3 times.
It's how we divide it up. So there's
So
allocations that go along with each of the facilities.
there's 3 times for wastewater and 1 time or 2 times for water treatment.
Correct, and it's how we do our allocation.
The 2,600 for wastewater and 800 and 1,600 for.
So they're divided up between the two. Because they both go off of each. So our water plant feeds into the sewer plant, which is 50/50.
So 50/50 didn't come out that way.
And then we also have our maintenance shop, which is water, sewer, roads.
We have, in here, we have wastewater treatment plant 3 times for 2,600. We have
So
the main plant 1 time for 800 and the Cold Springs plant for 800.
okay. So a lot of it has to do with descriptions, which I'm working with Tasha on. As far as how it needs to be set up. So
Okay.
if you want to come in and we'll,
Yeah.
tomorrow, yeah.
All right. High Tide Technologies.
Yes, that is our annual contract. That is, High Tide is our communication to the operators through their laptops. It tells us how full each tank is. It tells us whether our plants are running. If they shut down, it sends an alarm to them that they can get on the computer and look and see what it is. It's an annual fee for water and sewer. That's why you have 2 entries there. One is for water, one is for sewer.
Okay. We spent $137 for ink at the water treatment plant. Didn't we do that last month?
No, that was on my.
Okay.
No, that was on my printer in my office. It is more. They get theirs about every 3 to 4 months.
Well, number 38459. It shows it for water treatment plant.
Yeah.
So it's up back, the 384 what?
Well,
459.
yeah, it's water treatment plant. Yeah, for the printer.
So my philosophy is when you run out of one, you get a backup.
Okay.
Because if you don't pay attention, which
It's me.
you can run into some issues. So my philosophy in the office is when you replace one, you get one.
We paid $375 for a battery for the backhoe.
Yep. I believe that was for the wastewater treatment plant.
I just got a new battery for 325.
And RGH,
They're almost done.
sure, that's what we heard.
They're getting close to the limit. They know how much they have left.
We heard that a year ago, yeah.
I know.
When are we going to actually quit giggling about it and make these people pay attention? We heard it a year ago.
Uh-huh. I understand that.
They're about that.
Well, they gotta get all that money, they got money that.
All right, we don't have to give it to them. Okay, I don't have
But then
it.
we have to work stuff.
That's all I have. Board? All right, let's go. Ben,
Yes.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Me,
Yes,
board votes no.
Order the chair.
The chair, not the board. Board, the chair votes no. I was just reading.
Yeah, you have financials there. Just to give you what it was for 2023, water fees was 950,000. At the end of last year was 1.3. So we had about 400,000.
418.
Yeah.
Thank you, first of all. And, just, is any of that money profit or is that money, do you have any kind of an idea on that? Because I was thinking, hey, there's $418,000 we did have. Then I started thinking, well, which of that is not really money that we get to have? Okay, thanks.
Actually, there is.
There's some, I know, but
There's very little in it.
I just had this dream that maybe a financier would see that number and think a good thing.
When we win the lottery, it'll be.
Thank you.
One balance sheets in there. We also have, that's starting out at the end of December as to where you were. So if you look at water at this point,
Water fees are, water is up,
418,000.
versus, the year before.
water enterprise, there's actually 320,000.
There you go. Thank you. So I looked at some of these numbers, but when I looked at them on the computer, a lot of them were upside down.
I noticed that when
I guess I started turning my computer upside down, but then I got crap. So I stopped.
well, that's why I sent you the new one today.
I know.
I noticed it yesterday when I got home. Okay. All right, operational, all I have is basically your, link measurements. And we have that for the 16th and the 28th. We went from 14.4 down to 13.8. What today, everything's dry on unit. 700 milliliters this week with that. One minute, 200 milliliters, that was because it froze. Sleep is, there's no, we're as, .1, and it was dry. And as for your, physiometer, there were minimal changes. All the way through with the, for the 2 weeks.
newsletter.
Looks like I'm up for newsletter.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it done.
I think we got, we
Remember
all
when
the,
I asked you?
When?
Remember when I asked you?
Yes. Okay. Let's move on to agenda.
general items, you have resolution 3-2025. If you'd like to, accept it with the changes of, under number 1, the regular election shall be conducted as a mail ballot election in accordance with, relevant provisions of the code, including May 6th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Two directors will be elected to serve for 4-year term, eliminating the first line on, 1 and 2 of section 2, and also adding, designated election officials office located at CCMB 4497 Bed Brothers Boulevard into that.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 3-2025 with the
Die.
recommended change. What's that?
Move and second. Discussion, question? Let's vote. Ray?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Ken, you agree?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the change order for the addition of the restroom to the ballot this project.
Second.
Move and second. Question? Let's vote. Sarah?
Yes.
Ray?
Yeah.
Chair votes yes.
The CCAACC reconstruction, 5003 Astronaut Lane, the house.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve, the request for construction, for 5003 Amsterdam Lane. House.
Second.
Move and second. Question, discussion? For all this, did we have a, inspection report from the Architect Advisory Committee? Did we have one?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
one.
no, he didn't. He approved it, and he just wasn't here last Thursday. He was sick, and he did go around and check and did everything and approved it, but I don't know whether you or Larry, because I know you and Larry talked about it.
Randy,
Yeah, that he wasn't here, and they were gonna approve it.
and that's the one I showed you.
Yeah, but I never got the approval.
That extra sheet.
Yeah, but it was approved
Yeah,
by
he
them.
said it, so
Yeah, looked at approval.
Yeah, it's pretty good drawing, but. So, let's go.
Yes.
Ray?
Yep.
Sarah? Chair votes yes.
Okay, North Parkway Water, I know I got a letter from, Dana, and,
South Parkway?
yeah, for the ranch, that their lawyers are still going at it, figure out what they're going to do, and they're going to put in a well or whatever, and that aspect of it. But I know they'll shut off water at this point.
So what is our interaction with their legal staff? Any?
Yeah, there's, he's been usually about every week, they'll give us an update to Carolyn and me as to what's going on. And where we're moving that.
So they're trying for a well permit?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't. I don't know, the well permitting site that I looked at I could not find that anybody has submitted a request. So it hasn't happened yet.
They haven't,
I don't think. Couldn't find it.
even though they just have each other on that for 4 years. But then, I got 15 years and 2 years and they turn years.
My thought is I just don't want our legal staff or our staff representing us legally on this issue, receiving weekly consultations from them if they're not doing. Yeah, they billable hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, expensive.
Yeah. The water lease, I did talk to Richard Barron, we are gonna get together again, this week. And, then we might have a vacation, he's out for 2 weeks before that, which I know he couldn't fall. And, so, he sent me an email, when I was on vacation, I told him that, I'd be back in the office this week. But we just, discuss what we need to do. I will send all the letters to, properly. Need to change out, he can give you an update on that. Water loss, found anything out of the ordinary. We did have, one break up on Alondra, but it wasn't a break, it was the curb stop and, ate away, and it was leaking there, so they had to do it up, put in, curb stop. Yeah.
is that the one that I saw on Facebook that flooded somebody's driveway?
No. No, that was, tank 3,
Yeah.
tank 3.
It, we froze up a little bit up top. That was the night it was 22 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
And, couple of things happened electronically and mechanically. And it happened. We got up there that night, took care of it. I mean, when it's that cold, stuff's gonna happen.
Stuff happens, yeah. Okay.
So,
We lose a lot of water.
no.
The, sewer wrap, I'm still in discussion with them to get, our north side of 165 all done. Wages, we haven't worked on that, and I'd like to get on that next with you guys as to what your ideas are for, guys taking tests and stuff like that. What? Because right now, it's what, 12
12 and a half cents.
12 and a half cents if you pass the first 4 tests. You're 12 and a half cents for each test. So,
When did that get written up in 1912?
no, I think it was back in
It was
87.
before Frank Payne.
Yeah, so,
It was Calvin Hamler.
so we need to update that. You know, since we're doing our roll regs and, our policy. Camelot and Rosemont, I haven't, talked to Mr. Shaver. I will move to a special trip this week to go down and see what he came up with. That's all I have on old business.
So Jim, I get all your other business, sewer rat thing,
Uh-huh.
why are we not getting, we're not getting a report from it?
I wanted to send it out. I have the website that will give the report of what we have done. They have done. It will be an easy report.
Refresh every, what are they doing for us?
They are ultrasonic or sewer.
Yeah, is that our collection system?
Yes.
And they're on phase 3 on that?
Well, they're on phase 2.
Okay, so when are they gonna do phase 3?
Well, that's what we're trying to look at, is finishing up 1 and 2, yeah, because there was some, manholes that go fire and that kind of stuff. And we want to get one section done, and then they have half of the south side done. Of course, still manholes and stuff on there.
So, what is the timeline?
I'm hoping to get, one or two done hopefully by June. And we can probably start, the other side after June.
Alright, I work pretty much when I have a free moment trying to locate these manholes. Due to the weather, I haven't been able to do, but I pre-locate them. I line it up with Jim and sewer rep, and then we know what section we have and where we're gonna go and how to find them. Right now, I can't find anything.
Right. So
So
we,
it's, I go out and do a pre-locate. And then I get with Jim, say, this is where I'm at. Jim sends it to them, says, this is where we're at, we're ready to go. And so right now, we're in kind of a holding.
right on, I get that. Are we under any kind of time constraints from the state or?
We're supposed to do a third of our system.
I got that up.
Depends on if they can get us all that info. Yeah. Once we get that information, we can get on.
And this will tell you exactly how many feet of line that they have.
Just don't want to find
That, no, but that's where we're at with that.
for, like,
George, full business?
kind of old business to new business. One of the things, when I started working at the high school, as the athletic director, I didn't think I could pull it off because I'm not very organized. Then I got a program, I can't remember the name of it, to help me organize and plan things, how to get referees, when to get singers, people to run the line crew, blah, 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 all those things you gotta do to run an athletic event at high school. And I found the software was very helpful. I think that maybe when Angel's talking tonight, I was thinking if we had a schedule, a software that would organize and schedule requirements so that we aren't getting caught behind. I'd like us to start thinking about looking at something like that. There are some software packages out there that might help. And I'd like Mr. Becker, if you take a look at some of those, you have a better idea than I. What we're looking for. I'll take a peek too. I've looked around a little bit, but
Probably be more into, construction management.
yeah, something like that. Something that keeps us out of trouble with the state. And, kind of like when we were talking about the sewer, the meter replacement. That's why I asked him about what about a multi-year plan. He said it'd be easy, very doable. If we schedule 117, right down like plan it out. Plan the work plan.
Well, one of the things is if we end up doing it ourselves, I know we probably have to rent a small excavator for
That's fine.
a month or two.
I don't want to
I
get
want
back
to get
in.
them done.
I don't want to get back into that. I'm just talking about how we would schedule that kind of work.
Yeah.
So that's track hole work there.
Yeah.
Little track hole. Yeah. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
I did have one old thing that's kind of a new thing. Just for everybody's information, I had entered into a dialogue with a potential grant writer from Longmont for water conservation possibility for the irrigation system.
Cool.
On from 9 on Holiday. And she's working up her proposal, and I'll present that to you. The whole board when it's ready.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark is also working with that.
Yeah.
Getting me some information as far as estimated gallon loss, raw water and potable.
Yeah. I know you sent me some information about, one for Salida.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stephanie Reeves, working out a lot. She worked with Salida and Pompey Springs and for the first step.
Oh,
I talked to her today. She seemed very knowledgeable and
Anything else, then? Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Make a motion to.
motion. I'll second.
Oh, harder than that. Yeah.
you know,
How do you do that?
yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Don't stand so close. I'm not kidding. I just got over the phone.
All right, here we go. Come on, Jason.
Hey, how's it going, Jim?
Long day.
So you did have a break on the coldest day of the year, huh?
Hell, yeah. 22 below. My legs are blue, and I come flying down that hill. Well, I can walk up,
That.
coming down,
I
and
do want your skin.
then you got another guy who's good, on the chest, and running down the hill like a farmer.
It was cold.
But you still feel like it.
Yeah.
What time?
I would, that's why.
So.
No, it's got, I got. It's out. There are some countries that can't go back. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's real.
Also, it is the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Shut it off.